last person I have on this list is Mr. Miles Sanders. Now, if you follow me on TikTok, I actually did kind of a video on this because someone actually responded to my video on Chauncey Goldston, and they were talking about Miles Sanders. And so I felt the need to respond because they made a comment that was something like, Miles Sanders isn't even a good camp body. And I'm just like, whoa. Like, to say somebody is not even a good camp body, that's kind of an extreme remark. Because to be a camp body, like, you don't even have to be good by NFL standards. Like, you literally just need to be a body who's capable of being at practices and executing what they tell you to execute. So that's kind of a major insult. And so, like, my first point in that video was that we gotta stop doing that as fans. Like, when we're not excited about an acquisition, we're not excited about a signing, it immediately turns to insults and trying to trash a player. And I'm like, Miles Sanders has had a rough couple of seasons, but let's not act like he wasn't that dude with the Philadelphia Eagles for like 4 seasons, right? So a few of the things that I mentioned in the video, he came out as a rookie, like came out the gate hot. What was it? Over 800 yards rushing, over 500 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns in each category. Fucking crushed it his rookie year. So that right there tells you he has skills and abilities. But you know, things happen over time, and there are a lot of things that can affect production, especially for a running back. So anyway, crazy rookie year, crazy good in terms of what he was able to do. And actually his entire time with the Philadelphia Eagles, he actually did really well. He didn't leave the Eagles because he wasn't useful or because he didn't have talent or skills. From what I read, what it seems like happened is that the Eagles offense changed a little bit, so his role changed. They started passing the ball more. There was more RPO. There was more screen plays, just things that didn't require him to play the same role that he played, for example, his rookie year, where he was just putting up crazy stats, rushing and receiving. And so he came to the conclusion that he wasn't going to have the role with the Eagles that he ultimately wanted to have on a team that he was on. And he also seemed to have come to the conclusion, whether just through observations or through conversations, that they weren't going to pay him what he felt like he was worth because of that diminished role. So in other words, he's like, these are the skills and abilities that I have. Based on this, I deserve to be paid this much. But the Eagles are only using me in this way. And so the way that they're using me, it doesn't, it's minimal in terms of what I'm capable of, but they want to pay me for how they're using me, not for what I'm capable of. So if I want to get paid what I feel like I'm worth, I need to go somewhere else. That's what it seemed to have boiled down to. And so he went to the Panthers, and then his numbers, production took a nosedive. Something else I mentioned in that video was that when it comes to that kind of thing happening, because that's what a lot of people are pointing to when it comes to not being excited about this signing. And I can understand you not being excited. Be cautious, be cautiously optimistic by all means, because we don't know for sure what happened. But one thing that I will say is when it comes to running backs that we like, and this can be on a case-by-case individual basis, but as individuals, when it comes to running backs that we like, we will come up with a whole list of reasons why they're not producing. Oh, it's the O-line. Oh, it's the scheme. Oh, it's that the owner or the GM or the coach doesn't like them. Oh, there's politics at play. Oh, well, you know, they got injured. Like, we'll come up with so many reasons to justify lack of production, them falling off in some way, besides just assuming, oh, this person was good and now they suck, which is not a thing that really happens unless someone does suffer some type of injury, whether physical or mental. Because, like, yes, an ACL tear can affect production. So can concussions or depression or addiction, right? So usually if it's not one of those things, there are other things that can affect production. And so that was something that I wanted to look into a little bit more. So far from what from what I've seen and from what I've heard, from what I've read, there seems to be a strong case for the idea that the Panthers' offensive line um, didn't do Mr. Sanders any favors. We'll put it that way. I haven't heard that from him, but from people who study the team, study their film, that seems to be, for the people who don't seem to be on this train of, oh, he was good and now he just sucks. That seems to be the case that they're making. And it seems to be pretty consistent, which makes me believe like there's some substance there. Because if it was just a bunch of people trying to make excuses for him, you would hear more varied reasons. Like some people would say it's the O-line. Some people would say, oh, it's the coaches, whatever. But it seems to be pretty consistent where people are like, yeah, no, he's still a good player, but that offensive line just wasn't working with him. The play calling wasn't working with him. So I'm just like, okay, I'll buy it. We'll wait and see. Because one of two things is going to happen. He'll either be mediocre and he'll be on the bench. Great. We need people to support the starters. We need depth, right? Or he'll come to the Cowboys and he'll be in the right circumstances to actually perform better. And then we've lucked into a really good running back that just nobody believed in. So the Cowboys got him. So my one question for Mr. Sanders, I would want to hear from him what he feels like affected his production. Do you feel like it's the O-line? Do you feel like it's something else? Because he did suffer a few injuries, but most of his injuries did not take him off the field for any significant amount of time. But just because a player is playing doesn't mean they're playing at 100%. As a matter of fact, it's very rare that we see players at 100%. Very, very rare. More rare than I think people realize. And so he might have missed like a couple of practices, maybe a game or two here or there, but we don't really know what kind of pain he was playing through. Now, in 2024, he missed like 8 games because of what some sources say was a foot injury, some sources say was an ankle sprain, but from what I read, by the end of the season, he was cleared to play again, which means by the time OTAs, training camps, preseason, all that comes around, he should be in a good position to where we can see what he's capable of and what he's worth. So there's that. I don't have any concerns in terms of his health right now. But I really am curious what led to that drop off in production, which seems to perfectly coincide with him switching teams, which is another reason why I believe it's the O-line, because it's not like he started to fall off while he was with the Eagles. They changed the offense, which did affect some of the ways that he contributes, but he didn't just start like playing bad while he was still with the Eagles. It's literally like, oh, he's with the Eagles. He's dope. He's doing his thing. He goes to the Panthers. What the fuck happened? Like yards per carry dropped by like 25%. Like, okay, where did he go? And then of course the Panthers disappointed because they're like paying this man $25 million a year. And he's not doing what they expect him to do. But that's the thing about acquiring a player and paying them that much money. As an organization, you got to do your part too. So if it was the O-line, if it was the coaching, then if you're going to pay a player $25 million, there are still things that you need to do in order to put them into a position to succeed. So there's that. So yeah, those are the players that I got to so far. Those are the questions that I had for them. I'm going to take a quick look at your comments and I think we'll address one more thing and then I'll sign off because it's late and I want to go to bed. I got to get up early. But like I said earlier, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me.